Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join real estate entrepreneur and mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome to Construct Your Life podcast. This is Austin Linney. We got my good friend, my coach, Omar Pinto here. How you doing, Omar?
I'm doing amazing, Austin. Not as amazing as you, but pretty close.
So guys, this is a little different. I did the one previous where he interviewed me. Every about 4 months, I'm going to come on here and kind of give you an update on my life. We're going to talk about life and kind of just do it because I want you to be up to with my story. I want you to understand where I'm going. So sometimes when I have guests on, I can't divulge everything that I'm doing because I want to give them the space to talk. So Omar's going to come on and do that stuff. And we're going to talk about the last couple months. A couple things have happened. A couple things are moving around. Some of you know, some of you don't know. So I'm going to let Omar kind of take over the interview from here. And then, Omar, we can probably start, let's say right before COVID, probably about March, I would say.
Wow, we're going to go that far back?
It's like 4 months, bro.
Okay. When did we do that first interview?
We dropped it probably like mid-May, but it was my story of my whole life. So that's
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's dive into COVID. So let's go back to March. Let's start with your weight. Where were you weight-wise? Because, I look at you right now and I'll be honest, I've got a little jealous streak happening right now because I'm looking at Austin going, the man looks amazing. He looks younger. He looks fitter. He's got even more energy, and he's always been this rocket ship. So let's start there. Let's start with the weight loss journey.
We have a good friend. So I started when I was an alcoholic. I would say the heaviest I was about 247, 245, I would say. I was a 38 waist, almost a 40 sometimes. Currently, I'm 198, and I'm down to a 30 waist.
A 30?
Yeah.
A 30?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So it hasn't been easy. It's been a lot of work, but something I want to harp on, and our mutual friend Sal mentioned to me, as everybody knows, I went through a divorce and I worked out 2 times a week. I ate well. I don't drink, but I had all this weight around my waist and I couldn't lose any of it. And Sal told me that was from negative emotions and toxic energy. And he said, the moment that you remove yourself from that marriage and you move on with your life, he goes, I bet you 100% that you're going to lose all that weight. And that is what's been happening. So guys, sometimes it's not about the diet. Sometimes it's not about how much you work out. It could be that your body holds certain energies in certain places. And if it's negative or toxic, it can hold there and you can't release it.
So what was that process of letting go and releasing? What did that look like?
A lot of crying.
That works tremendously well.
I have been on the road for about 3 months, give or take, home a little bit, but traveling, spending some time with myself, spending some time in my shit, but mainly being out in nature. Nature is kind of the elixir to a lot of stuff. And I think that gives you the opportunity to remove yourself from distractions and more importantly, makes you look internally. And I've had some massive breakthroughs. You get to a point in a marriage where you realize that you can't be the person that person needs anymore. And it takes a strong soul to step up and maybe be the bad guy in the group to release everybody of their responsibilities. And she won't listen to this, but you know her very well. And my ex-wife has lost, 25, 30 pounds as well. She's happy as shit. So, guys, life is not about holding on to something that doesn't make sense anymore. It's about releasing each other from the burdens of negativity and a toxic codependent relationship.
Okay, so we might be here for a while because we don't want to. We certainly do not want to gloss over this.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I don't think it's a good idea to gloss over it is because if you think about it, how many people do you think are struggling?
70%.
There you go. So imagine 70% of married couples are struggling with what you were going through.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you and I was honored and privileged to be able to work with both of you during that time. And I got a chance to watch you both evolve and transform as individuals, as the most authentic version of yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no way for that to happen until you guys actually made the hard decision to separate and end the marriage. So what are some of the biggest takeaways, the most important learnings, the things that you want to share with your listeners, the 70% of them that are sitting here right now going, dude, how did you do it? What do I do next? I mean,
I think that one of the biggest issues was I had to grow a set of balls. And what I mean by that is there had been talks of separation multiple times, but every time the thought of that and how difficult it was too hard for me to grasp. But more importantly, it's not so much about the marriage, which is important, but I was best friends with her brother. Her dad is like a father figure to me. We own property together. These are things that aren't easy to pull yourself apart from. And it's so much easier to be together and just forget about it. And so what you asked me to do is you said, if the thought of separation comes up again, I just want you to say yes. It doesn't mean that you're going to get divorced. It just means that you're going to allow yourself the space to think on your own, guys. And I can't tell you when we first separated how many times I almost picked up my phone to call her to tell her where I was. And I go, wait, I don't need to do that. Mm-hmm. This is on me. And what I found in the middle of the divorce, very interesting. I'm a businessman, and even though I'm pretty aggressive, I don't love conflict. I really don't. And I looked at it as a business transaction and will deal with the feelings in my own time. So I'm very cold in the fact of like, hey, we need to do this, we need to do that. And she is portrayed that I don't give a shit about 13 years of marriage. And what I'm trying to tell her is like, hey, you don't know what's going on. Like when I'm at home and it's late at night and I'm listening to these sad songs, like like some terrible movie, like I'm losing my shit, right? But that's my time and my stuff, right? And I think what's more important in the separation that kind of hit me, right, is she's coming at me and telling me this, that, and this and that and all this stuff, and I got really upset because she can trigger me. And then I took a minute outside and I thought to myself, guess what? You don't have the right to tell me how to feel anymore because we're not together. And it was when I stepped into my power and said, no, this matters to me, meaning my happiness matters to me. That's when I started opening up into what I truly wanted. And that was a big game changer for me.
You know, this whole idea of you don't have the right to tell me how to feel is like a cancer, globally. And for many of us, that's how we were raised. Mm-hmm. We were told how to feel. We were told when to feel. We were told what to feel. Mm-hmm. And so going out and becoming an adult has been for many of us the most difficult thing imaginable because we don't know how to think for ourselves, feel for ourselves, process emotions, communicate effectively. And so this is such a needed quality, is the ability to be vulnerable and the ability to open up and also have that space. So it's a combination of allowing yourself to be and also holding space for those who need it.
Yes. And I think more importantly, I think what's super exciting as I evolve as a coach and as a person, I think that you have to understand that everybody didn't sign up for your accountability program.
That's good. You should expand on that.
So,
because that.
so I, alcoholism, divorce, I want to tell everybody like, hey, there's a better way. There's a better way. But what this world is asking for you as a coach and as a partner and as a person is to create the space available for that person to make their own decision. It's as simple as that. And when it sticks and it's anchored in their decision, that's all that matters. They'll do the change. But by you pecking at them and being aggressive, you told me this. My assistant, Chris, God love him, he's been sober for 5 months now. A separate guy too, but a separate, another friend of mine. You said, Austin, you can't just tell him to stop drinking. You have to say, hey, let's slow down your drinking and let's find out why you're drinking. And we as people, especially in American society, have to have the answer. You can't even wait 2.5 seconds if you don't, no. And so now what I've gotten to a place of doing, I don't have that answer right now, but I'll get back to you when I do. And you're basically saying but what I found, this is very important. This changed my life, and I will forever be grateful to Danny Pachisi for doing this. Because when I was in Florida, I was coaching her for 5 days straight, intensive stuff. I would allow her to speak for 45 to 50 minutes without saying a word. And what I realized is that as a person in life, I would say that we have the answers. We just don't have the space to create the answers in our own head, because it's on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the thing. But you as a person, by sitting and listening, all you're doing is confirming what they already truly know, but they have to have the space to work it out in their own mind.
That's genius. I love it. We have the answers. We don't have the space.
Mm-hmm. How could you? Netflix, it's kids, it's drinking, it's this event, that event, everything. There's a guy I like, I can't even think of the name, but he allows himself 2 hours a day of white space, meaning whiteboarding, reading, listening to music, whatever. And he's just creating the space to be creative. We have scheduled our days and we have based our lives around goals and this, and the kids got to go to this. And that, how could you even have the space to have a clear thought? Because I truly believe this, and I may be off base. I would say that 90% of the people that I coach already know the answers.
It's a little higher.
No. I'm dead serious. If you listen to them long enough, they know. And so, but what I'm doing is I'm a second eye to see an angle they haven't seen. But I have to be disciplined enough to step back and allow them the space to get to that on their own, because that's a confirmation in their soul. It's deep. It's not just surface stuff.
So what would you say, because I always like to ask this question, which is, what would you say the big rock bottom moment was for you in your marriage where you said, not one more day, not one more hour, not one more minute?
It was a comment that you made to me. You said two things to me that changed my life. I even talked about it last night. You said to me, you inspire me every day. I said, do what? He goes, you said you're doing all this stuff. You're the podcast, you're in real estate investing, you're networking, you're traveling, you're working, everything like this. And you're doing all this stuff with a terrible relationship at home. And you said, could you imagine how high you could fly if you were supported? Changed my life. Because I thought to myself, you are getting all that done, but imagine how you could feel if you were loved and supported. Not that she didn't love me, but in the ways that I needed.
Yeah, it's the space. It's the support. Yes. Imagine what you could do.
And then more importantly, you said to me, because I got sober and then woke up to a terrible marriage and realized that I felt obligated to stay in the marriage because I felt like this guy's going to get sober and then leave his wife. What a prick. Right. But then you asked me, you said, when are you going to allow yourself off your death sentence?
Yes. This I don't want to gloss over this one either. This is something that people do. They do not allow themselves off the hook. There is almost, for many, a life sentence for life's mistakes. I've made some decisions. I've made some mistakes. Okay, I have failed. Sure. And for some of us, it becomes a life sentence, a punishment that never ends. It's constant need, or this constant attempting to redeem ourselves over and over in every way, shape, or form. And yes, when are you going to, when is the sentence going to be, when are you going to complete your sentence, basically? When are you going to
pardon, right? And so a couple weeks into the separation,
not even a pardon. Forget the pardon. Awesome. How about, it's like I did a 10-year stint. I did a 13-year stint. You know what I mean? Like, does the punishment fit the crime?
Agreed. But something I want to champion, right? And God bless my ex-wife for this. Guys, there was no lawyers. There was no if and buts about it. We handled it. We signed the paperwork. It was done. But she said something to me, and I lost it when she said this. This was months ago. And you have to like country to understand it, but I'll put it in context. There's a song called "The Dance" by Garth Brooks, and she said, "We are the dance." And she goes, "I don't regret a single day, a single trip." And she goes, "We're just two different people that want two different things now." She goes, "I'm not mad about the dance. I would still do it again." And I look at that and I go, that's powerful, because we grew up together, right? We spent time together. We slept in 300 square feet together. We were each other's companions. But I really looked at the next 40 years of my life and I said, what do I want? And it's very hard to say, I didn't want that anymore. And moreover, I didn't want that for many years. But I lied to myself that this was how it had to be. And there can't be anything better, because this is all there is. And there was no communication. There was no passion. There was no romantic, none of that stuff. And I just thought, this is how it is. And then I thought to myself, I'm going to live off what I tell myself every day. There's got to be more. There's got to be more passion. There's got to be more travel. There's got to be more love. There's got to be more sex. There's got to be more all that stuff. And when you open up those parts of your life into the universe, and you say that I want abundance and I want gratefulness and I want all those things, the universe sends it back to you 30-fold. So if there's ever a moment, and I'm not saying that everybody should go out and get divorced, that's not what I'm saying. But any relationship or any business transaction or any job you're in, if you're not feeling the movement of
called fulfillment,
then walk away.
Yeah.
And be better.
I want you to remember what was really keeping you in there for the longest time. Guilt, fear, obligation.
Mm-hmm.
There was this, how can I abandon her?
Yeah.
After her being there for me.
More importantly, I handled a lot of the marriage, so I was under the impression that this woman could never take care of herself.
Right. And what did I tell you?
That's a strong-ass woman. She'll be fine.
Okay. That was...
No, I don't think you said that. I just made that up.
But you guess what? You're 100% right.
Yeah.
You can say that now because you see who she is today. And I said to you, what if what you're doing here is not helping her? What if what you're doing here is actually holding her back?
Yeah, that's powerful. You're right. I remember that.
By letting her go. And what did she do?
She flew to the heavens.
She flew and she grew, and she hasn't had a panic attack or an anxiety attack since the day you left her life.
True story. 6 years straight, panic attacks, taking medicine, all these stuff. The day we got separated, she hasn't had one panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
So the marriage was the panic attack.
This is not something to take lightly. This is not something to gloss over. When you are in a relationship and I want those of you listening that are in a toxic codependent relationship, Google the drama triangle. So it's the codependent drama triangle. Just type in drama triangle. There's 3 roles that we will take in a dysfunctional relationship. One is the victim, one is the persecutor or the aggressor, and the other one is the rescuer or the hero. And so in a dysfunctional relationship, what you do is you're just taking one of those roles. So you're in one of those roles and they're in the other role, and then you just switch roles. But those are the only 3 roles that are available. And so what happens is if you are in a place where you feel like you are the hero, you are the rescuer, that this person cannot live without you, then what you are doing is you are preventing not only yourself from growing, but you are preventing the person that you're with from saving themselves.
Dude, you're messing me up right now. It's all like coming back to me.
I know it is. I know it is. But it's important to remember that what you went through deserves to be shared with others.
Because, hold on. You're taking away their personal freedom and their personal choice by being their hero.
Yes. Because they're buying into the same shit you are. And what you said at the beginning of the interview was you had to do the hard thing. You had to do the adult thing. You had to be the one. And I remember that was part of your struggle. I don't want to be the one to do it. And I'm like, bullshit. Okay. Man up. Okay. And I don't like to use that term very often. But in this particular case, this is one of those moments where I am compelled to take the lead here for us, for the greater good, that what I consider to be the bad guy has actually turned out to be her hero. You actually set her free. You are her hero.
Yeah, because we were playing a bad hand of poker and seeing
bad hand.
The fold. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And so, this is not something that when we talk about, it's impossible to cover all of the ebb and flows that happen when you are going through a divorce and when you are separating, and you're talking about 13 years of marriage. And the first thing that, that some people listening to this are saying right now, but you don't understand. But you don't understand. It's different. We're different. Our situation is different. And what I'm here to tell you is chances are it's not. It's not.
No, and what's interesting about me, of course, the moment that I got divorced, the number one thought that came into my head was, I can help so many people with this. And it's the truth, because at the end of the day, I think that, and I'm going to do an episode about it pretty soon, I think there are expectations put on people, and meaning the situation is this and everything. And at the end of the day, like, what I champion is that I did not ever feel great about the marriage for the last 7 years. And I refused to have a kid, because a kid did not deserve to be brought into the world in that mess.
Amen.
And I think that was one of the greatest things that we ever did, because this allows her to move on and meet somebody and have a kid and it be the right thing. And I think what's important, and something that I won't do moving forward in any relationship I have, is I don't think that there was enough communication around love languages and around what that other person needed and really tapping into like, this is how this person operates. I'm not going to change them. This is what they need. And if I don't feel that need for them, then what's the point? And I think that's what people don't, they want. Look, you know me, dude, I'm a wild Bronco. Like, and the thing is like, I'm out there and I'm running, but when I truly like want to be with somebody and everything, I'm not that way. Like I can turn it off, but that's because my needs have been met in a certain way. But by not addressing those and trying to put me in a box, I'm only going to buck that much harder. And we were both putting ourselves in a box that didn't work anymore. As simple as that.
And so let's go to the comeback.
Okay.
So this is the beautiful thing about going through the most difficult and painful moments of our lives is that when we get through it, we become a different person. Mm-hmm. You tap into the most authentic version of yourself, but now you have this new perspective on life. How, and remember, we started this conversation with March, coronavirus, and I'm like, let's talk about your weight. Mm-hmm. And before we knew it, we're talking about, this divorce, and letting go of that weight. Right. Mm-hmm. And so now, boom, weight's gone. I am free. What do I do?
Mm-hmm. And I got laid off in March too. So good job. So, it's been an interesting couple months. I think more importantly, I think we as people, and Monday was another bad day for me, but we as people think that we want this thing or this is the way it's supposed to be. And I think that the universe knows what it's doing. Yes. So instead of attaching negative thoughts to, oh my God, I didn't get what I want, maybe the universe is moving things out of your way for you to experience the true power of what you're looking to do.
Okay, boom. Segue back to what you were just saying, which is I lost my job in March because it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It was the same thing.
I didn't like that either. So yeah.
No, but here's the thing, right? It was about risking. Mm-hmm. It was about the universe presenting me with an opportunity, me taking that opportunity. And what did that opportunity, because it gave you a lot of wonderful gifts, mm-hmm. including getting, the dissolution of it.
I think that people put context or attachment around certain things. And I think that everything is put in your life to teach you one thing or shift you into another space. And I think that they're so quick to get somewhere and so quick for it to mean something that you might not see the meaning of a situation or a year of your life spent. What it allowed me to do working in private equity was shift the focus of kind of who I wanted and what I wanted. And that has cleared the field for me to really pursue what I want, which is coaching and helping people. And you do these things and you get in these spaces because you feel like it's what you should do or whatever. And what I'm realizing over and over again is I don't want to be tied down anywhere. I don't. And I might in 2 years or a year, I might want to be somewhere and have a kid and do all these things. But right now, for me, there is so much beauty out there in the world. And by being in that corporate space, by being in that job, I was just lying to myself. Like and moreover, it's so deeper than that because you're not doing what you want to do every day. So you're miserable, and so you're focused here and you're focused there. And then your marriage is falling apart. And then only me would start a podcast in the middle of your marriage falling apart and all that stuff. But it's been kind of a beautiful journey because it allows me to kind of tell the story of kind of what I'm doing. But, I think if I'm able to relate it into what is going on for everybody right now, if this virus and this, whatever we're going through has taught anybody right now, is that I really hope that what is held near to your heart is what's most important. Because all these things can be wiped away so quickly. And I think if anything, nature is telling you to slow the F down and is telling you that you really don't need a lot. And I think by doing that, you're tapping into what truly moves you instead of just doing stuff for other people.
What is essential? There is this, concept of essentialism and what is essential in our lives. But we're missing I really want you to, since we're storytelling,
Sure.
there's a reason why you got that job, right? There was a reason why you got that job, and it was to move you away from something that you were attached to, just like your marriage. You were married to the restaurant business.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And this was the motivating force that allowed you to walk away forever, regardless of the outcome.
Okay, I'll back it up. So we started the Airbnb company. We were doing it while I was still waiting tables, bartending, bar manager. And I was like, to a point where like I was searching so hard for something to fall in love with and something to be my catalyst to get me out of this 20-year business I've been doing. And I just said, fuck it one day and just quit, like just burn the boats. And like, I'm going to put everything in I got. And I dove into this business 24/7. And that was in May 5th of last year. And in July 27th, we decided to part ways. So only 3 months. And I lost like 26 grand. And one of the things, and I told this story on the podcast a couple of times, but we had the 2-year anniversary of my old job. I'm just going to go say hi to everybody. This is right after I lost the money in the business. And I parked the car and I'm walking up to the restaurant where I worked, and I look in the door and I see everybody, and my hand went to grab the handle, and the universe, I don't know who talked to me,
voice
said to myself, this is not your life anymore. Walk away. And I put the handle down and I walked back into the car and I drove home. And the next day I got a call and my buddy offered me a job to work in private equity for investors. And I feel like that I was really close to sliding back into that life. No, I know I would have, guaranteed, because it was safe, it was comfortable. And I think a lot of people give up right before they're ready to strike gold. And I haven't struck gold, but at least I'm doing it on my accord. I think that's what's important.
So, and here's another beautiful analogy, I guess, the way I like to use the Nagasaki, the Hiroshima sort of analogy. We can now use the coronavirus, right? Where I basically press the self-destruct button on what's going on in my life. So everything that I knew, everything that I could count on, everything that I believed in, everything that I'd worked towards was now creating the most amount of pain in your life. Okay. My marriage, this job, being in the restaurant business, this is not who I am. I'm in personal development. I'm growing. Now I'm the Airbnb king, right? And people are coming to me. What should I do? And I have to pull the ripcord somewhere along the lines. And since then, it's just been this continuum of change and evolution, change and evolution, change and evolution. You have not landed yet. You're still in the process. Okay. You're still becoming.
But go ahead. No,
and so
it's only been a year and like 3 months, and I feel like it's been 20 years.
Right. And so here's the beautiful thing and the takeaway for those of you listening that stuck for 15 years or so in your life. Let's just use that number. Stuck for 15 years versus taking a leap of faith and transforming your life in less than 2 in ways that you would have never imagined, number one, and number two, been able to accomplish based on current conditions. You had to push the fucking self-destruct button. You had to destroy your life so you could construct your life.
I'm gonna pay for that title for the rest of my life. Dude, you're making, which I don't do is enough. You're making me reflect on. I think we as people, especially me, don't put enough stock in what's happened. Right?
Undervalue.
I have been sober for a year and 4 months. I've traveled everywhere. I'm having conversations and hanging out with people that I've always wished I could hang out with, and so on and so on. So you're right. I mean, like, we're just in the beginning. God, we're just in the beginning stages of the transformation. Even though I want something so great, but yet I was an alcoholic for 20 years, and that was a long systemic problem. And so that alone, that thought is going to get me to slow down a little bit and just kind of enjoy the ride a little bit more, because we're just getting warmed up and we're just stepping into the power of who I truly am, regardless of the bad marriage, the bad job, the bad self-thoughts, the alcoholism and stuff like that. And so we, as like, perfect example, you meet these 25-year-olds and they're like, well, I'm not here, I'm not there. And I'm like, you got 65 years. Like, do you know how long that is? Like, you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I mean, like, my whole life has shifted in a year's time, and it feels good. I mean, it feels great. It hasn't been easy. It sucks. All of it sucks. My dog, I don't get to see my dog anymore. That broke my freaking soul in half. Which, I mean, still I try not to think about it because it hurts every day. There's a comfort level with a human being that you feel for so long that you have to shift that off of you, and it makes you start looking at yourself, which is hard because your only focus is yourself. But I think there's so much more fulfillment out of my daily day basis because it's for me and it's not for anybody else, and what I'm doing. And so I want to make sure that as a listener, and I want to make sure that's super important, that we step back and we reflect on what we're doing every day is a building of my new thing is, life is a pyramid. Every block matters. But the problem is that nobody defines what the top of the block looks like. Nobody defines what the top of the mountain looks like. They're just kind of like flailing around.
Well, here's the thing, and this just came to me as you're describing it. If life is a pyramid, you don't have to worry about the top. Mm-hmm. Because if you put the bricks in the right place, mm-hmm. it'll meet at a point, no matter what. Mm-hmm. I have to just keep laying the bricks. That's all. That's all I got to do. I get forget about the top. Keep laying the bricks. If I have faith in myself, faith in the process, okay, then what's going to happen is, if I'm building a pyramid, there's only one way I can lay those bricks. Mm-hmm. So I know what's coming. I just have to do the work. Mm-hmm. That's it. And so let's talk about, and speaking of which, people, divorce yourself from the results. Like, just to do. It is the biggest deflation. So many of my clients, the biggest problem is they reach their desired outcome or destination, and it never meets their expectations.
Never.
Because what they chose not to pay attention to was who they became in the process. That's the gift.
So something super powerful, and it relates to right now. Guys, I fucking signed up for 3 fucking Ironmans like a savage. Like, I was like, I'm going to come in there and just show these mother effers how I do it. I'm training 3-4 hours a day for 6 months, 8 months, like, straight up. No joke. First one gets canceled. Second one gets canceled. Third is going to get canceled. So all these goals and all these things I had, all these hours, 4 a.m. workouts in 40-degree weather, 50, 60, 70-mile rides, 6 hours, 7 hours, gone. And what I realized is, who gives a shit about no fucking race? It's just the cherry on top. Because what I showed myself was dedication, discipline, and that I can push myself farther than I ever thought I could. And that's all that matters. So like he was saying, divorce yourself or be married to the process and divorce from the results, guys. As simple as that.
And here's what I think we should close with is accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are so many times, because Austin and I are on the same journey. Okay, we're entrepreneurs, we're businessmen, and we're guys trying to figure shit out on the fly. Okay, so that's life, right? Like, and there's so many moments where it's like, I don't know how much more of this I can take. I don't know how much more of this I can take. And so there is this accountability that, for at least for me, and I'm pretty sure for Austin, is so important in this process, because sometimes it's the only thing that gets you up and keeps you moving, is knowing that I've already committed to the podcast. I'm already balls deep in construct your life. I have put it out there that I don't give a fuck. Get out of your own way. I'm a motivational speaker. I am on video. I am on podcasts. I am on lives. I'm going to quit now.
Yeah.
Right. Like, let's talk about how about putting yourself out there has almost just inadvertently created the accountability you need to keep moving forward.
I'll give it in context that any fucking restaurant bartender workout people are going to go, oh, I get it. There is no feeling. I mean, none. I would rather fucking take a hammer to my head than to tell everybody, fuck off. I'm moving out of this restaurant and you're never going to see me again, to coming back 6 months later and you failed. Because every motherfucker goes, oh, we'll see him again. We'll see him again. Every guy goes,
oh, dude, brilliant. It landed.
I mean, the shame of that is so great. And you know what? Now that you said that, I didn't even think about that. What if the fucker that created a podcast called Construct Your Life decided to fold up his life?
Yep.
That is so funny.
No. That's the thing. That's the beauty of where we're at. And that's the beauty of, and this is another similarity we have. We just dive into shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like, oh yeah, I'm all in. Yeah. And then you're in halfway in and you're like,
I don't want to be in.
Oh my God.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things where, look, you know yourself, right? And so I lay landmines in my life sometimes to booby trap myself, guys. Like, okay, if Austin says he's going to do that, then he's going to go do it, right? And then I thought to myself, like, and I'll do a video tomorrow about what's about to happen over the next couple months. But Danny said it to me perfectly. She said, if you would have started a podcast a year ago, and it was called Construct Your Life, I would have called you within the first episode and go, you're fucking full of shit because your life's a nightmare. She goes, but you created a podcast called Construct Your Life while you're constructing your life.
Yes.
And what that is basically saying is you're saying that you're not seeking validation of others and you're constructing a life that suits you and it's nothing else, guys. And I believe that as an investor, if I could go back there, I think 90% of people invest for other people. Like, okay, perfect example. If you're making 10K a year or a month, excuse me, and the amount of stress and work that it would take to get to 12K, you're doing it so you can say you make 12K, is going to ruin the lifestyle that you built now. Make sure that by getting to that next goal that you're not adding the stress and adding things that you don't really want, because you're trying to say something about what that means instead of just living here. It's super important.
Okay, so that just happened today. That's what happened to me today. It's beautiful. I have been, building my coaching practice for 3 years now. And in the middle of a pandemic, I've never been busier. Okay, I've got more clients than ever before. And I woke up this morning just in a ball of anxiety. I literally thought to myself, I can't take on one more client. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to destroy my business. I can't have those thoughts, right? Whatever you perceive, you will achieve. What your thoughts will manifest. I'm like, I can't say that, but I don't want another client, right? Like I'm buried, I'm exhausted, right? It's affecting my lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And so I said, I don't know what to do here. I don't know what to do. And so I go and I talk to my wife, which is the last person on the planet I want to talk to about this. Mm-hmm. Okay. Any of you guys most of you men that are listening do not like to talk about money with your wife, right? Or business, right? And I took what has been building for over the last few weeks. Okay. This ball of anxiety and fear that has been building for a couple of weeks. Took her less than 30 seconds.
Of course.
To clear it up, of course. Okay, this is the magic of coaching. Mm-hmm. And she goes, well, why don't you just raise your prices? That's what you did last time this happened. It's almost as if we have to suffer to a certain degree, right? Because I was forced to ask for help. We're not designed to do this shit on our own. Dude, we're just not.
Dude, Brad Johnson told me yesterday, game changer. He said, guess what? Lessons in life, they'll keep coming your way. And as you get older, those lessons get bigger and harder, and the heartbreak gets harder and harder until you wake the fuck up. Buck up and deal with it. He goes, The universe is undefeated.
Undefeated. All right, Austin, that's all I got, man. What's one parting piece of wisdom that you want to leave with your listeners?
Make sure that who you are is who you want to be.
Were you preparing for that? Because just came. That was fucking gold. Yeah.
It just came.
I was like, damn. Yeah. Just mic drop.
We're gonna leave you at that. I don't want to ruin that last part. Dude,
I love you, brother.
I appreciate it, my brother. Thank you so much. We'll do one of these again soon, and I hope y'all had a good time. If you enjoyed the podcast, make sure you share it with your friends, rate us and review us, guys, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Love you, brother.
Love you, bud. See you.
Thank you for listening to Construct Your Life with Austin Linney. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and pay it forward by sharing with a friend. Most importantly, take this opportunity to start constructing your life by taking immediate action on what you learned. For show notes, resources, and more information on one-on-one coaching with Austin, visit constructyourlifepodcast.com.